Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. It is Wednesday, May 30th, the year 2018. Let's talk trading. Why you do not get better at trading, part 8. When's it going to end, right? Well, I've got a couple things I'm going to do in this part. The thing about trading is, as some of you know, if you peruse my channel, you also know that I'm a prepper. And part of preparing is, having the knowledge to do certain things like build a fire, make shelter, stay warm, stay dry, things of that nature. And also it's, stocking up, having, a supply of water, a supply of food, a supply of medicine, equipment, etc. Well, in the prepping industry, it's kind of similar to the trading industry. Every day, I get an email. Somebody's got this gadget that every prepper should have in their bug out bag or in their supply closet or something. It's just relentless. Just like I'm sure in your emails as traders, you probably are getting that slope indicator trader dashboard thing almost on a daily basis. Or you'll get somebody else with their, watch this webinar and learn how to do this, learn how to do that. And the problem with it is that a lot of people, preppers and traders, they rely on these gadgets. It's kind of similar to the shiny object syndrome, but they really rely on the gadgets as opposed to having the skill. And not only do they rely on the gadgets, a lot of times they never even practice using the gadget. They just have it. And then if something happens, if the stuff hits the fan, they don't know how to use the gadget they spent money on. And a lot of times they have these high price gadgets that you can use something that's a lot cheaper. Flashlights. Some people like their 1,000 lumen flashlights. But really, when I go to Harbor Freight, I can get the 27 LED flashlight free with any purchase. And that's pretty bright light. Let me tell you, when the lights went out here, I don't know, a couple of months ago for one evening, I used one of those free flashlights and it lit up the whole room. It's funny. It's just like in trading. They've got more indicators out there that they're trying to sell you that you don't need. You just don't need the gadget. And along with that is the belief you need something else. So you might already have a trading toolbox full of gadgets, or, in my case, you've already got a shoebox full of knives. I've got a video out there showing all the knives I have. But it's like I don't need another knife. Yes, when I walk into Walmart, usually I'll walk by the knife display, or in Bimart or in Cabela's. I'll look, and sometimes, ooh, yeah, that's cool, but I just tell myself I do not need another knife, and I keep my money in my pocket, and I keep my credit card in my pocket. I'm not going to buy another knife. No. I finally did buy that Harbor Freight survival knife, but only to take it to prepper meetings to show people what they really don't need. Because I don't carry it. I don't need it. It's just one of those things where it looks cool. It looks like a Rambo knife, and you can put stuff in the handle. Really? Do you really need that? It's the same thing with some of these indicators out there in trading. You don't need it. You can just start off with a very simple chart. Something like this. I got my dots. I can take those dots off. I've got my, the big display of the price. Do I need this? No. I can just look at this chart and visualize where certain things are, where I would want to buy and where I'd want to sell. I mean, but if you need an indicator to tell you that, then you haven't learned and mastered chart reading. I mean, knowing where the midpoint is, yeah, I can guess, but there it is exactly. And so I know what to do. And as I pointed out yesterday, here we've got the daily. It came up and it crossed the midpoint. So if you took that trade at 78, you'd be up almost 10 pips right now, 9, 10 pips. I mean, it's just simple things like that. I mean, and I said since it opened below, I would have gone short. I would have taken that a short trade right there. And it's just that simple. I mean, you don't really need that much. Now, sure, I'm going to show you all my charts and indicators, what I use. But the thing is, it's because I know how to use this without them, that just speeds up the process. And it makes sure I don't forget something. Because unless I sit there with a paper checklist, or if I use the My Notes and put all my trading rules on the screen, and I've showed you a few of those before, um, then I might forget something and don't want to forget anything. And, I really don't want to forget money and risk management, and that's why I mention it every day. And I hope you don't forget it either, because, this is something you need, and it's not a gadget. So, somebody might consider all this gadgets. Well, that's okay. And to some people, they might be. But if you know how to use them, they're not. And see here, it's Wednesday, and look at all those gaps that filled. Now, if you go back to the Sunday video, back on May 27, you saw there were some pretty big gaps. You had the opportunity to take advantage of them. Whether you did or not, hey, let me know if somebody actually traded one of those weekly gaps and you made some money. I'd like to know. But you see here, we had a breakout of that weekly low, went all the way down to 108.10. 8. You can call it 108.11. You see, it's now 80 pips above it, and it's almost right there at the low. So that was an 80 pip trade to the south side. Did you take it? That's on the weekly, right? And we can look at the daily. You can see here, it broke out from the open, didn't quite make a new low, turned around. So you probably had a nice reversal. And you can see here, we had a short trade right there. You should have taken profit. Right here, there's no trade. Here, you had a long trade, probably should have scratched. There, you had a short trade, should have taken profit. Here, you had a long trade, profit to be had. And here you have another long trade with profit. Once again, horizontal lines, you could plot these on your own. You don't need to use the free indicator here, the TRO buy zone. You don't really need that. It's just nice to have it there so you know when you're +8 or +10 from the open and it's time to take the trade. It's simple. It's not, gadget. You consider that a gadget? Okay, call it a gadget, but it's really not. It's just simple horizontal lines. And just like, we've got price and close to open. So you can see here, if it's highlighted in magenta, you've got buy zone opportunities on the horizon. Simple stuff, not complicated at all. And you see we had let's see, where was a good rat zone trade? Right there you had one that you had to scratch out of if you waited here. But see, actually green candle, red candle closes, trigger at the low. So you actually, if you did that properly, you had a chance to make, I don't know, 14 pips or 10 pips or so if you traded that properly. And then here you go again, green candle, red candle closes. You trigger at that low point. You had a chance to make, 5, 6 pips maybe. But they're there. Those opportunities are there. and it's not hard. Is this a gadget? Well, then don't use the indicator. You think it's a gadget, don't use don't use it. And then you could just say, well, right here I can see when it's making a high, and then I can calculate in my head. Or you could use this indicator, which if you want to call that a gadget, that's fine, but it's just a gauge telling you the distance from close to open, high to close, and close to low. So you can see here, yep, I'm in the red rat zone right now. Simple stuff. Pivots. Okay, we took out the pivot. Once again, simple. Fade the pivot. Fade the pivot. You see we went down to the weekly S1. You see price didn't close below it, so that was telling you something. Now on the H4s, see, now do you need these lines? No, but if you want to hand calculate where these pivots are, maybe you don't use pivots at all. It's you, but any one of these charts, you can see it's pretty much simple, and that's all you need. I mean, here, once again, price action. Do you need all of this? No, not really. You can get by without it. It's just that you can see here what's happening on multiple time frames, and it kind of you don't even have to look at each one. You can just say if it's more green, then price is probably going up, and if it's more red, price is going down. But two ball, what happened here? Red at the line, you go short, there was over 10 pips to be had. Right here, right now, green at the line. Well, what did you have? You had a chance to put 4 pips in your pocket if you wanted to pop out of that trade. Once again, it's just simple. If you want to call these gadgets, that's okay, but they're not. You're saying you don't need anything else. You probably already have these. If you downloaded the free Motherload, you've got these indicators. Don't really need anything else. Once again, price at the line, simple TRO HL5 indicators out there. You can download it for free where I post my code, and you can see here H1 candles taking the trade with the candle color at the line. Sometimes you win, and sometimes you might just scratch or you might lose. See here, if you rushed it, you lost. But right there is where you should have entered the trade short anyway. Or you could have taken a turn trade. See, there's many things. See, so when you learn these techniques, you can apply them. See, you don't really need more gadgets. You just don't need them. Wick zone, is that a gadget? I don't think so. It's profitable. That's what it is. Once again, price doesn't like to stay in the wick zone. And the holo, right here you can see we've got a holo set up in the making. No Harry hindsight. So if we switch that down to M5, you can see what's happening right there in the making. Price action, you can see the bid cross below the valley of the across the above valley of the ask crossed below, but then came right back. So if you were long, you might have gotten wiggled there, and you can decide, pick which way you believe price is going, but you should be able to observe which way price is going. Pivots, we took it out. The IRBs, you can see here, there was a nice long trade right there, last 15 minutes. Good for about what, 8 pips, 7 pips or so. Not bad trade. You can see here just the price action on a line chart. So, fellow traders, just remember, if you have a belief when you see one of these ads that you need whatever it is they're selling, you don't need it. And you don't need to rely on gadgets. Remember, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks.